सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 53. Shruti vipratipanna yada stashyati nishala samadau achala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So, in this particular section, we are reading about the Buddhi Yoga, or in other words, the Krishna consciousness. And Krishna has been explaining the different characteristics and the benefits of practicing Buddhi Yoga. So, in that series, this verse comes Shruti Viprati Pannate Yadasthashasi Nishala. So, Krishna is also explaining here that when uh, your mind is no longer disturbed by Shruti Vipratipannade. Shruti means uh, the Vedic revelation, and Pratipannate means the fruitive results of the Vedas. So when one becomes free or goes beyond the Shruti and Vipratipannade, means one is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas. Yada sthashyasi nishala. When nishala is one is unmoved, one who remains fixed, sthashyasi nishala, and then samadho achala buddhis, and one who attains achala buddhi. Achala buddhi means the fixed intelligence. Samadho achala buddhi, unflinching. Achala buddhi, intelligence. Tada yogam avapsyasi, and then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So Krishna is talking about this achala buddhi. Achala buddhi means the unflinching intelligence. He is not talking about achala mind. People many times they say, "Oh, I'm trying to practice Krishna consciousness, but my mind is not supporting me and just keep wandering, keep distracting me." So, what is the solution? Solution is here. It is not the mind. Actually, mind is like the steering wheel, and then there is intelligence. So, uh, the intelligence, if it is strengthened from the scriptures through this knowledge, then we can easily control the mind. Because Krishna explains in the third chapter the hierarchy that dull senses, and above the dull senses is your mind, and then above the mind is intelligence, and above the intelligence is our soul. So, if you want to control the mind, then you strengthen your intelligence, and that intelligence is explained here as achala buddhi. So, one who has attained this achala buddhi, that person is uh, known as tada yogam avapsyasi. He has attained the yoga. He has attained the divine consciousness. So this intelligence has to be trained. That is why every day we hear or we read, from the authoritative sources, from the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, under the guidance of a bona fide guru. And when we keep hearing, our conceptions start to change. A lot of conceptions that we keep hearing, and we have heard already from our childhood, and we have developed certain conceptions. So our buddhi is contaminated or mixed intelligence, but we have to come to the level of achala buddhi. People talks about various traditions. We can talk about the family traditions we have learned from our parents, from our grandparents. Some social traditions. Uh, the place we have brought up, certain traditions people follow there, and everybody talks about those traditions. So in that condition, it becomes difficult to take up to come to the path of this achala buddhi. the fixed intelligence, which is we are situated in true Krishna consciousness. So for that, we have to let go all other conceptions that we might have heard, and it may not be based on the scriptures, but we have followed. People are taught us to follow. Sometime when we try to practice Krishna consciousness, our family or friends or relatives, our parents, they say, "Oh, why you are doing something new? This Hare Krishna or all that." Our tradition is different. We follow, we worship different demigods, we chant different mantras, we have different rituals, you know. So then it is a mixed intelligence. So one has to let go all those various traditions and then come to the one tradition, which is worshipping the Supreme Lord. As Prahlad Maharaj also explains, Nate vidu swarth gatim hi Vishnu. One should understand that our real swarth, our real tradition is Vishnu tradition. One who does not understand that, then that person is not situated in the Achala Buddhi, he is not in the fixed intelligence, he is not going in the right direction. So that is what is the Achala Buddhi. So when we become fixed up in our intelligence, then we can easily control our mind. Our intelligence should be trained and convinced that the goal of life is to worship and to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. It is like watering the root of a tree. Yatha tharor moola nishechanena trapyante tat skanda bhujopashaga. If we are fixed in that intelligence and convinced about this fact, that if I am worshipping Krishna, if I am chanting Krishna's name, I am serving Krishna or Krishna's bona fide representative, then all other traditions, all other kinds of worship will be automatically taken care. It is just like watering the root of the tree. All other branches, leaves, twigs, everything will be nourished. So I need not to worry. I need to just think about how can I, follow the instruction of Krishna. How can I serve Krishna? How can I please Krishna? That is the tradition. So when we are situated in that kind of intelligence, when our intelligence is convinced about this concept of serving and pleasing the Supreme Lord, and that Buddhi is called Achala Buddhi. And when we are situated in that Achala Buddhi, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. That state of consciousness is divine consciousness. Yogam avapshyasi. That is the real yoga. You are in connection with the Supreme Lord that time. Right. So we have to let go all other kinds of concepts and the traditions and different ideas. People may criticize, people may condemn, people may point us out, but we should remain fixed up. We should not get disturbed by public opinion, or we should not get disturbed by, you know, the different opinion which is given even in the scripture. Shruti Vipratipannate. Which opinion? That fruitive results of the Vedas. We should not even get distracted by all those kind of instructions from the Vedas. And we should not get distracted or disturbed by what people says. People might say, "Oh, you follow this tradition, don't follow this Bhagavad Gita or Krishna." So people basically say that you don't accept Krishna or a bona fide representative of Krishna as Guru, you accept me as your Guru. So we should use your intelligence that what is the right path, you know. So people criticize, people condemns. So one time Prabhupada was asking, one of the disciple, that when you go out for preaching, so what is the response? Like what people say about when you go on preaching? So he says, Prabhupada, many times people accuse us, when we go and explain this concepts from Bhagavad Gita, then people accuse us that they say that you don't use your intelligence and you're just blindly following something. You're all sentimentalist. You don't use your intelligence. So then Prabhupada, in response to this, Prabhupada says that's exactly your point. People should use their intelligence. People are not using their intelligence. They should use their intelligence and then read Bhagavad Gita, understand Bhagavad Gita, and based on the principles of Bhagavad Gita, they should lead their life. Otherwise, there's andayathan there, there the blind is leading the other blind, and they will all fall in ditch. They don't use their intelligence. So people will be there. They might criticize us that we are all sentimentalists, we are all fanatics, we are not intelligent people. But we should understand what is the real intelligence. What is that fixed intelligence, Achala Buddhi. Right. Some person was criticizing in Vrindavan when one disciple was talking to Srila Prabhupada. So he was criticizing that Prabhupada, people say that we are parasites. We don't do any work which is meaningful, and we are parasites. So Prabhupada gave a nice reply to this. Very interesting. Prabhupada says, if they say that we are parasites, then you tell them that you stop giving. Don't give us if you think that we are parasites. Don't give. But actually they cannot stop. Because it is they might be thinking that they are giving, but actually it is not them who are giving, but Krishna is giving. And that is what is our conviction. So people will criticize in so many ways, but one should remain achala buddhi. One time one devotee, in the early days of Hare Krishna movement, one devotee was there in Vrindavan, and then and they were very excited about going around and visiting the temples. So one devotee, uh, apparently very new devotee, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and then he was chanting and he was going and visiting the different temples. So when he was in Vrindavan, so he went to one Goswami temple, and then he was in conversation with one caste Goswami, and then this Goswami somehow they're not very appreciative in the beginning about Prabhupada and giving initiation to all this Western people, and they are thinking, caste Goswami, that this is our exclusive right to worship the deities and to do all this uh, practicing chanting the mantras and all of that. So they are not very appreciative. So he kind of criticizing and sarcastically was saying to this devotee, he said that you just keep chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. Just by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, you cannot go back to Krishna. For that, you have to practice the Braj Bhakti. You have to learn the Braj Bhakti. And that Braj Bhakti we can only teach like that. So this devotee was apparently very disturbed by this, uh, you know, statement that, oh, by chanting Hare Krishna, we cannot go back. We have to learn Braj Bhakti. Somehow he was not convinced and also he was disturbed. So he goes back to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, I met one Goswami, and he was saying like this. So Prabhupada says, uh, you know, he says that you go again tomorrow and you talk to this Goswami and you tell him that we are chanting this Hare Krishna mantra and you are doing this Braj Bhakti. So you keep doing Braj Bhakti, and by doing this Braj Bhakti in the next life, you will take the birth in America. And when you take birth in America, you'll come in touch with Hare Krishna. And when you'll start chanting Hare Krishna, then only you will be able to go back to Godhead. So this devotee was very, very happy. So this is what is the Achala Buddhi, that by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Shraddha Sabde Vishwasa, Sudrada Nishaya, Krishna Bhakti Kaila, Sarva Karma Krataya. That should be the faith of a devotee, that Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krataya, that if I chant, I worship, I do Krishna Bhakti by chanting the holy name, then everything else will be taken care. And not to worry about all these Shruti, Viprati, Pannade, all these rituals which has been explained in the scriptures. So I should not be distracted and influenced by all this uh, fruitive, flowery language of the Vedas, fruitive results of the Vedas. I should remain fixed up in Krishna consciousness, Achala Buddhi. And that is the state of real yoga, divine consciousness. So unless we give up all this fruitive mentality and then that fascination toward this flowery language, and we just become one-pointed attention, Vyavsayatmika Buddhi, Samadhavu na vidiyade, as Krishna explains, will not be uh, fixed up unless we have this Vyavsayatmika Buddhi, this Achala Buddhi, unless we give up all these desires to sense enjoyment. One time when Prabhupada was in Jhansi, so Prabhupada, started his preaching, and then the time he wrote this book, The Easy Journey to Other Planets, and he was talking to one person and explaining this concept of easy journey to other planets. So this person says, yes, Swamiji, this is a nice idea to go to other planets. So if I go to some other planets, after that, Prabhupada was in Jhansi and talking to this person. So this person is asking, if I go to other planets, can I come back to Jhansi again? So if that is the kind of understanding that I want to go there and then come back again, then we are not qualified to go back to Krishna. We have to give up all other desires. Anya abhilashida shunyam jnana karma anadavrutam. So we had to give up all kinds of other desires. Abhilasha shunyam. There should not be any other desire. There should be only one desire, that to serve and to please Krishna, and that is achala buddhi. So one should not be distracted by all this shruti vipratipannate yadasthashyasi nischala. One should not be, uh, one should remain fixed up, achala buddhi, and one should not be distracted by the shruti and vipratipannate, the flowery language. And this flowery language is, our scriptures are divided into various sections: the karma kanda, gyan kanda, upasana kanda. So scriptures explain, the acharyas explains, this karma kanda and gyan kanda, they're also like the flowery language. It's unnecessary distraction. So a devotee is never interested in any of those sections, either karma kanda or gyan kanda. Karma kanda, Narottam Das Thakur, he says, karma kanda, gyan kanda, kevala vishera bhanda, amrata boliya ye khaye. So he says, all this karma kanda, gyan kanda, and all of that, it is nothing but it is vishera bhanda. It is the part of the poison. So devotee is not interested in all this, taking this poison. For a devotee who is fixed up in this achala buddhi, who has the achala buddhi, for him all this karma kanda, gyan kanda is as good as eating poison, taking poison. So there's everywhere there is a ritualistic all these ritualistic injunctions are there, even in the scriptures. But a devotee understand the goal is Vedesya Sarvar Aham Vedyo. Vedanta Vidhevachaham. The goal of all the scriptures is to know Krishna, and after knowing Krishna, to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. So karma kanda is needed so long one is unaware of this concept, unaware of the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once you know that, then no other desire. So our goal is not karma kanda, but go back to Krishna through devotional service. So all this karma kanda and gyan kanda, kevala vishera bhanda, amrata boliya, yen khai. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj actually explains, Prabhupada writes in one of the purport, this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, what is all this karma kanda, gyan kanda. So this verse comes wherein this Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, before they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their name were Sakar Malik and Davir Khas. So they are quoting this verse. They're saying, Mora karma mora hate galaya bandiya, kuvishaya vista garte diya chepe laya. So basically they're saying, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, that due to our abominable activities, we are now bound by the neck and hands and had been thrown into a ditch filled with abominable stool-like objects of material sense gratification. So devotee consider this sense gratification, which the Karma Kanda section of the scriptures offers this sense gratification, and devotee consider that the most abominable stool-like object. So they're saying that we are bound by all this sense gratification. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur Maharaj, Prabhupada quotes in the purport, he explained from this verse that ku vishaya vishta garte diya chephelaya. What is this ku vishaya? So he explained this ku vishaya as follows. He says, because of the activities of the senses, we become subjected to so many sense gratificatory processes and are thus entangled by the laws of material nature. And this entanglement is called vishaya. So this vishaya, this sense gratification, it is actually vishaya, and this vishaya is explained. Vishaya means sense gratification. It can be done in two different ways. One way of doing the sense gratification is by some pious activities, and one is by sinful activities. So it is called a suvishaya, and another is called kuvishaya. But either case, either of them are material activities. Either you do through pious activity, you try to sense gratify, do the sense gratification, or by sinful activities, you try to gratify your senses. Either of them, they are actually metal. They are considered as compared to the stool, either suvishaya and kuvishaya. So then one must engage himself in the transcendental loving service of Krishna. One should not be interested in Subhashaya and Kubhashaya, pious activity or sinful activity. One should go beyond this, which is the transcendental activities, the devotional service, which is free from all the contamination for all these material qualities. So one should become free from the reaction of Subhishaya and Kubhishaya. And one must take Krishna consciousness. And that way, one will save himself from this contamination. So, as Narottam Das Thakur has sung this song, Karma Ganda, Jnana Ganda, Kevala Vishera Manda, Amrita Baliya Ye Bakhaye. So, this is this wish Karma Kanda. And beyond this Karma Kanda, there is Gyan Kanda also. Gyan Kanda means this philosophical speculation about the effects of Kuvishaya and Subhishaya. If I do this activity, what will happen? If I do that activity, what will happen? And then with this philosophical speculation, one understand why I should not be engaged in all these sense gratificatory activities. But this platform of Gyan Kanda also, at that level, one can give up all this Subhishaya and Kubhishaya, the sense gratification. But that is not the perfection of life. Perfection of life is transcendental to both Gyan Kanda and Karma Kanda. That is on the platform of devotional service. So that is how one should understand. If we don't take that process of the pure devotional service, then Narottam Das Thakur further says, Nana yoni sada fere, kadariya bhakshana kare, tara janma adha pate aaye. Says if we don't take up this process of pure devotional service, then Nana Yoni Sadafire, we had to travel throughout the various species of life. There are 8.4 million different species. We will be just going round and round in this so many species of life. Kadariya Bhakshana Kare, by eating all kinds of nonsense, all this sense gratification. And we spoils Tara Janma Adhapataya. We spoils our this valuable human form of life. We don't take this Krishna consciousness. So this sense gratification, which is given in the scriptures in the Karmakanda section, is considered as very, very abominable. So Shruti Vipratipannade, one should not be fascinated or distracted by this kind of Vedic revelations. Shruti Vipratipannade, one should become fixed up and Achala Buddhi. Well, the sense gratification, Prabhupada give another example. The sense gratification is compared to the stool. And one who is stuck in this stool, like a worm, cannot come out from that stool. And a stool, either it is dry or it is wet, still remain the stool. So either it is Suvishaya or Kuvishaya. Try to gratify your senses by doing some pious activity or by sinful activity. It is like the dry stool and the wet stool. Stool remains stool only. So one should become free from this, and that is what Krishna is explaining in this verse. And so our goal is not karma kanda or any kind of ritualistic ceremonies or ritualistic activities, but we want to just chant. Many times this is smart brahmanas. They don't they won't understand. They say yes, you can chant, and by chanting you can become purified, but still you have to perform some rituals. It is important. What Krishna is actually saying, we need not to follow any rituals. If we are fixed up in true Krishna consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, then you have already beyond all the rituals. You have already performed. It is considered as you are already performed all kinds of austerities, all kinds of rituals, all kinds of study of the scriptures. There is this verse comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Aho badatsva bachoto gariyan yajjiva gre vartate namatobhyam te pustapaste jo Brahmanucho Nama Grananti Ethe. So it says, Ahobat Swapachoto Gariyan. Says, oh, how glorious are those whose Yat Jiva Agre Vartate Namatubhyam Jiva Agre, on whose tongues are chanting your holy names. Even if they are born in the families of dog eaters, Swapacha, but still they are worshipable. Gariyan. Te Pustatate Junushashnurarya. So, person who chant the holy name of Krishna, it is considered, it is understood that they are already executed all kinds of austerities, all kinds of fire sacrifices. So this is what is the power of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So one should have that strong conviction, that faith, that if I'm chanting Krishna's holy name, then I should not worry about all this Shruti, Viprati, Karmakanda, Gyan and this tradition, that tradition, this opinion, that opinion. No, nothing. I'm just fixed up. Achala buddhi. And one should not doubt about this. The holy name of the Supreme Lord can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. That is the potency. So we need not to worry about, oh no, no, along with the holy name, I should do this also, I should do that also. Not required. Nothing is needed. We just chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Not like Mayavadis. Mayavadi says that you can chant any name, either Krishna or any other demigod or something like that. So they try to equate the name of the Supreme with the name of the demigod. Actually, they're condemned in the scripture. They're called the Pashandis. One should not do that. One should only chant the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And how and why we should chant? We should chant the holy name of Krishna with the pure intention of pleasing Krishna, serving Krishna, not for any idea of sense gratification. Because there's the glories of holy name. If you do this, chant the holy name, you'll get this, you'll get that. But that should not be your intention. Our intention should be pure intention, which is to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. And when we maintain that purity, with that pure intention, then not only just we get purified, but we become competent to deliver others. An example is given of that of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, though he was born in a low class family, but he he took up the chanting and he used to chant 300,000 names every day. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him and he gave him the upadhi of Nama Acharya. He became the Acharya, the Guru of Nama, though he was born in a low class family. This verse was saying in the Bhagavatam, Aho bada swapachoto gariyan. Somebody is born in a low family, still yat jiva gre vartate namatubhyam. If one is chanting the holy name of the Lord, then he is considered a great devotee. So that is why in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, you know, Dharma projito kaitavatro parmo nirma saranam sadam. So all kinds of Kadav Dharma, all kinds of cheating religion has been kicked out from the Srimad Bhagavatam. All this Karma Kanda, Gyan Kanda, nothing is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Amala Puran. There is no mal, there is no contamination. It just talks very exclusively about the pure devotional service. And that's the whole idea of reading the scriptures. Otherwise, scriptures which talks about some sections of the scriptures, which talks about, you do this and you'll go to the heaven, go to this planet, that planet. And what is the benefit of going to other planets? You can go to the heaven. But then Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Shirne Punya Mrityu Lokam Vishanti. You'll come back, you'll fall back here in this world. What is the use? So one should not get fascinated by all this flowery language of the scriptures. Shruti Vipradipannade. Yeah, that's Tasha's Nishala. One should remain fixed up. And then Prabhupada in the purport he writes, when one is Achala Buddhi, then one comes directly into communion with Krishna. And thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. So by becoming this Achala Buddhi, one comes directly into communion with Krishna. One can directly receive the guidance and the instruction from Krishna, direct instruction. So one time, one interviewer in New York in 1976, he was asking Srila Prabhupada that Swamiji, I'm very curious that does Krishna directly gives you the instruction? Prabhupada says yes. Says, I mean, directly means Krishna directly dictates you something. Like he couldn't digest that understanding that Krishna gives direct instruction to pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. And there is another disciple. So he understood that this, interviewer is not able to understand. And this devotee was also still neophyte devotee. So we were trying to, adjust the answer a little bit and try to justify. Say, no, no, basically, Krishna give the intelligence and then through that intelligence, a devotee can act. So then Prabhupada immediately corrected this disciple. Say, no, Krishna directly gives me the instruction. Directly he dictates. Then another disciple he asks, but Prabhupada, that is, for very advanced stage. Prabhupada says, yes, that is for very advanced stage. But for the neophyte state, for a minor devotee, one should take the instruction from the Guru. So that is what the purport Prabhupada ending this purport by explaining that one has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. So we should receive the instruction from the Guru, from the spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, through his system, through his instruction, through his teachings, through his books, and through his Vani, and through his devotees, like that. And then in that state of Achala Buddhi, Tada Yogam Avapshasi, that is considered as the state of Yogam, the true yoga state, the divine consciousness. So these are the few thoughts on this verse. Let me pause here and see anybody has any quick question or any comment. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, if there's no question, we'll stop here. Bhagavad Gita की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, हरे कृष्ण।